Let's return to observing the body. Observing the space within which we happen. And we're going to observe to see if we can find any resistance within our body to the present moment, to life itself. There are different types of resistance we might encounter. There might be sensations in the body. There might be emotions or residues of emotions, which are reactions to what we perceive as taking place. And there are thoughts. Thoughts who have their own opinion about what should be. And so all these forms of resistance can be located within the organism. When we want to return to the body, we want to observe, is there any resistance? Resistance means we're not accepting life fully. We're giving away some of the life that's available to us. We're leaving it untapped, unused. We have less access, less intelligence, less ability to comprehend accurately what's taking place. So we scan for resistance. If we find resistance in our sensations, we breathe to that location where the resistance is. We inhale love, healing, and we exhale stress, tension, any form of restriction. So this opens the body. The breath can reach all the corners of the body. And through the breath, we can release the tension. We can change the situation so that it's more friendly to the spirit. If there's emotional resistance, then we allow ourselves to feel what the emotion wants to say before we try to correct whatever it is that we believe is wrong. So the first step is to listen, to know what is the response of the organism. What is it trying to tell me? This is divine communication. These are the settings that were designed by the one who made all. Our interpretation of it might be very distant from what it really means. What it's saying might be completely the opposite from what it really should be saying, and yet that impulse, that motivation, that desire to communicate that came out of the body, that came out of an organ, is a divine intention. He designed it exactly so. And so when we have wrong information, it seems like it's chaos, it seems like it doesn't know what it's doing. But it's still perfectly accurate. We have to start listening in order to make sense of it. If we won't make sense of it, then we're losing touch with reality. This is the ultimate reality. This is the one we're leaving with. And so we have to learn how to interpret. It doesn't mean believing everything that comes out of there. The information has been wrong, the emotions have been offended, but there is a reason why there's such an emotion on such an occasion, assuming that whatever happened would be interpreted right. The interpretation is wrong, but the reaction is accurate according to such an interpretation. That's divine information. That guides us towards the will of the one who designed us. And so if there's emotional resistance, we listen to the emotion, we become wise by listening to our hearts. And then we remember ourselves, we remember who the emotions are serving. And we remember that resistance is actually hurting the one that we're trying to protect. And so the right answer can't be resistance. Resistance to life, resistance to what's taking place in our bodies is never the right answer if we're looking out for our best interest. And so we have to discover a way to experience our emotions in a way that doesn't hurt the host. Emotions are there to serve the heart, not to offend the heart. And so if there's resistance anywhere in the body, we're for sure offending the heart. The heart wants an open vessel so that it can channel life and love to the fullest. And so we wake up the ultimate emotion, the emotion of feeling that we are one with life itself, the love that is before there are two separate parts. That love is the primary emotion. Every other emotion comes as a result of that love. We will get angry when that love gets threatened. We will get offended when someone doesn't respect that love. We will get bitter if we see that life is not happening in a way of love. And all this is just a result of that primary emotion, which is that we love existence and we want to celebrate existence. That's our nature. So all the bitter emotions, the difficult emotions, the emotions that are against life are all an expression of this love. And so we return the emotion to its primary owner. We realize that the emotion for sure didn't come here to turn us off from life. This can't be the objective of the emotion. The emotion is serving life. The emotion is here to enhance life, to protect life, to give life the right flavors, but not to destroy it, not to resist it. And so then once we wake up the right emotion, there's no longer any emotional resistance to life. So then we go to the thoughts. And the thoughts, they can sometimes resist what's happening in reality because they thought previously or somehow came to believe that reality should be different. And so also in the thoughts, we have to remind our thoughts what their goal is. They're trying to help life, they're trying to increase life, to protect life, but never to resist life. The goal is never to resist life. If there's something that needs to change, that doesn't mean that we need to resist life the way that it's now. It means that we have to invest ourselves passionately in life to assure that the future is even better. So it's not a resisting of life that's going to cause the future to be better. If we say, oh, now is unacceptable, that's not going to make the future better. If we invest ourselves in the now, the future will come out more beautiful. And so the right response to reality not being good enough is not resisting it. The accurate response is investing yourself in it more passionately. If life is not acceptable, it's because we're not living passionately enough. So life doesn't have the fuel that it needs to be accurate. And so if it's not yet accurate, it needs more passion, it needs more commitment. If we resist it, it will only get worse. We can't run from it. It exists and gives us existence. And so we have to attach ourselves to it more if we want it to be better. And so we explain to our thoughts the nature of their work, who they are working for, and what they are trying to accomplish. as we reduce resistance, we have more access to life itself. When we have more access to life, we can't calculate or imagine how that's going to feel or how it's going to impact our relationships or where that's going to take us. The imagination is not capable of knowing reality in that way. The only way to know is to become. If you will be more you, what does that mean for your experience and for what will take place around you? There's no one who can tell you that. There's only one way to find out. The wisdom designed us so that we have layers and layers of intelligence that can be accessed. There's no limit. The more we become appropriate to life, the more life becomes appropriate to us. It was designed that way. If you pay attention and you take it seriously, it will evolve for you in a positive way. If you don't dignify it or even disrespect it, it will work against you. It likes those who love it, and it hates those who disrespect it. That's part of the nature. Who is going to do that? Your design already did it. It's just a matter of what will you manifest from within your design. And this is obvious in every relationship. It's not something that we have to become very spiritual and see the subtle realities in order to realize how this works. In every relationship, if we take another person seriously and we care about them and we love them, this is what we will get. We will get the best they have to offer. And if we give them disrespect and we don't show them that they are precious to us, then we're going to get something else. This is just the nature of life. This is everywhere. This is something you will even experience with an animal. It doesn't require great intelligence, but be certain that the greater intelligence, many, many more times so than an animal, will react accurately to how you interact with it. Because that's the nature of intelligence, is to understand and know the right way, to know the truth of how to be. And this is his great wonder, this is his great wisdom, that we are all here together and yet each one of us sees a different face of him. Not only do we see a different face of him, every moment we see a different face of him. And which face will he show us? Oh, exactly the right one. He is the master at making faces. And so when we resist, we get resisted. What does it mean, we get resisted? Life resists us. How? It gives us less. Why would life give us less? It's not life that gives us less. We're not letting life in fully. And so there's less. And so how do we say that? We say, from our side, we resisted. From his side, he gave less. And so why did he show a face that's less alive? Because that's what the vessel desired according to its condition at that time. And so when we remove resistance, we're inviting life. This is what it means to be attached to the divine. To be attached to the divine means that there is no particle within your being that is resisting his presence. There's no particle in your being that disagrees with life. You want life. You want more. You want it to be better. You want all the different diseases humanity is suffering physically and spiritually to disappear. But that's by attaching yourself to life, not by resisting life, saying, oh, when it will be perfect, call me. You want all these things to happen? Attach yourself to life with a passion. Don't let any part of you resist. If you resist, then things will get worse. It's just the nature of the being. It's just the nature of how the body was designed. If we restrict the life force within the body, then there's less life in the body. That's not a good thing. That's never a good thing unless we don't want to be here. And that's a terrible thing. So for as long as we want to be here, we want to be here fully so that everything is working properly, so that everything is getting its juice. If something is not right, so now we're going to hurt our body, we're going to restrict our life force, that's absolutely not the right response. And so we should often sit down with ourselves and scan our body for resistance and explain in a nice way. Don't resist the resistance. That's not going to solve anything. But get close and comfortable with what's happening there in order to shed some light and realize that this is really a mistake. It's a misunderstanding. It's just the wrong response. It doesn't mean that the reason why we are upset is not accurate. It means that this way of processing the information is not going to help us solve the problem. So we have to channel this emotion to a different response. And then when there's no resistance, only then can we really taste life. Humanity is going to become wise, and they're going to create environments for humans that cause the least amount of resistance possible. And this is going to eradicate all forms of resistance. A child doesn't naturally resist. It takes many attempts until we finally convince the child to resist. And so when the environment is going to be designed for humans, then the environment is going to be safe so that it doesn't result in resistance. Resistance separates us from our soul, separates us from our completeness. Then we don't have enough life to inhabit soul. We don't have enough soul to have access to the minimum amount of intelligence necessary to be able to be human without causing tremendous damage. Speech is a weapon. It's a very powerful weapon. It's not just a weapon that can hurt, it's also a weapon that can heal. It's not just a weapon that's good for war, it's also a weapon that's good for love. But boy, is it a weapon. This is the weapon that's defeated man, not the missiles and not the bombs. And it's because the speech is grounded in resistance. That's when it becomes toxic. When there is only life, the speech is accurately reflecting the love the Creator has for creation. And when there is resistance, that love is no longer present. And when that love is present, that speech heals. That speech removes resistance. That speech reminds us who we are and why we want to be who we are. Every resistance is grounded in an illusion. Without illusion, there can be no resistance. The illusions are grounded in the information we gathered with the senses. The information we gather with the senses contains human activity. And so it's no longer reliable. It doesn't really reflect the love of the Creator for creation. If we want to find the love of the Creator for creation, we have to look at the original design. Within each one of us, there's a demonstration of love that's trillions of cells in unison, creating spirit. There is a spirit that's animating the body, and then there's the spirit that's being projected by the body. The one that we experience, the one that we know, the one that knows us, the one that's constantly changing and we put up with him. Sometimes it's pleasant and sometimes it's unpleasant, because the spirit that's animating the body is pure compassion. But the spirit that gets projected by the body, that depends on many things. The condition of the body, the beliefs that have been recorded, the emotions and how they were treated by the people around us. And so everything together will tell what kind of spirit can this body project. If there's a lot of resistance, the spirit being projected is going to be hostile towards life. Either expressly so or covertly so. But the resistance that's in the body will certainly be reflected in the spirit. This is why we haven't had prophets in 2,000 years. Prophecy can only come when there's no resistance. For 2,000 years, none of us have been able to stop resisting, because the conditions of the material world are in the hands of strangers, and these strangers do not know how to run it. We just can't feel safe over here. But in order to find safety, we have to return to the world of spirit. In the world of spirit, we are eternally safe. If we can remember ourselves as spirit, we are eternally safe. If we don't remember ourselves as spirit, then the spirit is dressed in the world of body, and the world of body is not safe. The more we identify as spirit, which is obviously who we are, we're not the body, because the body converts information to a feeling and a thought, and we only experience the feeling and the thought. We don't know what the body is doing. So clearly we're not the physical aspect, we're the one that's receiving the information. The more we return to that world, the more we lose our resistance. Yes, the body's been captured. The world of the body is not in a good condition, but who we are is still the gift that it is. The eternity that awaits hasn't changed. And so very temporarily, people strong-armed their way into controlling the bodies, and once humanity becomes slightly more intelligent, all that is going to change. The bodies are going to be released from the prison of having to comply with anything or anyone. It's going to be given over to the Spirit, which is going to be trusted, because what's going to reside in there is a Holy Spirit that has no resistance to anything. It's just demonstrating the beauty of its own nature. It's demonstrating the beauty of the wisdom, the intent, the desire that resulted in its existence. And so then the bodies are released from their bondage. But as long as we need protection from each other, the spirits are filled with resistance and there's conflict, then there are those who make the rules, and those who enforce the rules, and those who don't appreciate the rules, and those who can't live without rules, and so it goes. And the body is stuck in that conflict, in that world, in that confusion. And so when we return and we remove resistance, we are releasing ourselves from the bondage of the world of the body. We are returning to the purity of the world of the soul. The soul wants life. The soul is life. The soul is always alive. Life is one of the names of the soul. And so it's just the body that can pretend to resist life. The soul can never resist life. The soul is life. But when the body resists life, the body is essentially resisting the soul. And this is not in the best interest, not of the body and not of the soul. This causes damage to both. To the body, because it has less life, so that it can be less body. It cannot run if it doesn't get enough life. And to the soul, because now it doesn't have a clean channel to communicate and to accomplish its mission of self-discovery, which is why it was born into a body. When the body no longer resists, the soul remembers the love that it has for existence, and the body loves experiencing that love. It feels wonderful for the body. It gives the body all types of stimulation that it needs. It feels right in every organ. The less we resist, the more we have. And we want more. The only reason we would ever resist is only because we want more. So we have to wake up to the real nature of things. We have to outgrow the habits of an ignorant culture in order to interact with reality with the dignity that it deserves.